Hello, hello.
Hello.
Ooh, what I feel like something looks different about our little boxes right here. Is it just
Uh,
me?
I'm skinny and narrow, I guess, because I'm on the
Oh, that's
phone.
why right there. I was like, what's wrong with it? You see how it I had the wrong thing up on screen, but that's totally my fault. No, it was around the boxes with our names. But yes, Katie is skinny and narrow tonight. Not that she's never skinny, she always is, but she's skinny and narrow photo wise because we obviously were having some technical difficulties, but we are here. Don't worry. It's a day in the life of everything. If
Well,
you do
honestly, like let me get it off my chest at the beginning of the show instead of the end. I honestly swear to God, feel like lately with the internet, we are living in the Stone Age. I don't
I could
understand how
mhm.
this is the year 2021, and I feel like we are constantly dealing with internet issues.
Katie, I could not agree with you more. I am at work every single day. I think I pay for the highest speed internet access, and I'm constantly in meetings saying like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, did I freeze? Did I freeze?" Luckily, it's not only me. I'm not the only one making a fool out of myself at work. Clearly, with the podcast, we've had some technical difficulties over the past year or so doing this. But listen, I 100% agree. We're living off AOL dial up.
I,
It
I
feels.
feel I feel like I'm playing N64 and I'm taking the game out of the box and blowing into it and putting it back in.
And that's all you have to do. And half the time, that doesn't even work for the game.
So that's how I'm feeling tonight. That's how we're living in the
We're
Stone Age.
we're living in the Stone Age. We've got a fire over here. We're, making sure that we're warm with like fur skin coats and things like that. But Katie and I are here tonight. And, when you listen on demand on the podcast, do deliver you episode 171 of The Real Football Fans of New Jersey. We are so excited to have you guys. And thanks for bearing with us. Last week we were at Giants Fest, so we did take the
Yes.
week off, but obviously we delivered some great content to you guys in regards to tweets. We, met up a ton of other, Giants Twitter podcasters, had a phenomenal time at the event. Loved, seeing our fellow content creators there, posted a lot of pictures. So we hope you guys enjoyed that in lieu of a show last week. But we are back this week, as the summer winds down, as we get closer and closer to football season, as we get closer and closer to new franchises starting back up for Housewives. We're here. We're here for you guys. We're giving you the best of the best. So let's go ahead and get started. So we polled you this week. It's been a while since we polled you, gathering your insights, everything like that. So we asked you 3 questions. I'm pulling them up on my phone real quick. So the first one, we actually have 2 quarterback themed one because we've got a lot of competition going on in the NFL right now. And I think a lot of it's coming down to week 1. We're not going to know a lot of answers to week 1, but that doesn't mean we can't get everyone's opinion up until week 1. So who is going to win the quarterback competition for the Denver Broncos? So is it Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater? So according to our followers on Instagram and Twitter, 62% of you went with Drew Lock and 38% of you went with Teddy Bridgewater.
I'm a little surprised.
Me too.
Because I do feel like, although I don't feel like Denver should have been so quick to, if they're going to go with Teddy Bridgewater, I would have been like, damn, they should have given like Drew Lock more of a chance. Like, it's not his fault he got injured. And I really was high on him as a quarterback coming into the NFL. Kind of wanted to see what he had. But when they signed Teddy Bridgewater, I just had kind of assumed that he was coming in to be the starter. To see that everybody kind of voted more so in favor of Drew Lock, I voted for Teddy Bridgewater. Caitlin, I know you're a huge Teddy Bridgewater fan.
I did, yeah.
So to be honest with you, I kind of would have liked to see Drew Lock get this starting job because I was always intrigued to see him as an NFL starter. But realistically, I still feel like this is going to Teddy Bridgewater.
Realistically, absolutely. In a world where crazier things have happened in the NFL. All I have to say is that if Drew Lock gets the starting position and something happens to where he gets hurt or doesn't play well and they throw Teddy in and he has a remarkable season like he did with the Saints, people need to stop sleeping on him and stop. Like, he is an NFL starter, and that's all I have to say about that.
That's why I almost feel like maybe go with Drew Lock to see what you have. Like, we kind of know what we have with Teddy Bridgewater. Why don't you see what you have with Drew Lock? Because worst case
But I
scenario.
like what I see with Teddy Bridgewater. So why not?
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying that but it's almost like Drew Lock is the wild card. Mm-hmm. Like maybe you roll the dice and he's better than Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah. But if he's not, then you throw Teddy Bridgewater in. Either way, this has become like more of a conversation because everything I'm hearing, like on ESPN and everything, is that the race is much tighter than I guess people thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Which actually makes me think, I've only watched the first episode of Hard Knocks with the Cowboys. And I thought episode 1 was a little boring, to be honest. And I know Denver was one of the teams that was a potential for Hard Knocks. I would have loved to have seen this quarterback competition going down, especially with the fact that they're talking about how close it is.
Absolutely. All righty, another QB competition down south in New Orleans. We have who's going to win the quarterback competition for the Saints. So is it Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston? So listen, Instagram and Twitter here really took over, and there was really no real shot. So only 23% went with Taysom Hill, and 77% went with Jameis Winston.
I went with Jameis, but I feel as though this is another question based off of like what I'm hearing and seeing on TV and on the internet and everything like that, is that apparently Sean Payton wants Taysom Hill to win this job.
Yeah, I gotta disagree with that
which is really interesting. Yeah. It's very interesting because it felt like, okay, this is Jameis, but again, felt like this was Jameis's job. Still realistically feels like it is. But the rumblings I'm hearing is that Sean Payton wants Taysom Hill to win the job and that they're kind of in a close competition as well. So if your head coach is pulling for you, that kind of throws, I don't know.
I'm not saying that it's like, you have been dealt great cards with Jameis Winston on your team, but why in the hell would you ever give up someone like Taysom Hill being that threat and coming in and quarterback and coming in and doing things that backup quarterbacks don't do? Like no one else in the NFL has cracked that code like the Saints have. They throw in Taysom Hill randomly and it works every single time. No defense has been able to stop that. So why would you give that up to make him your starter? That's stupid in my opinion.
Well, analysts have been arguing give the job to the guy who's actually a legitimate quarterback, somebody who plays the position in a traditional sense rather than kind of what Taysom does.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
and if you have that non-traditional, that's amazing. And like I just said, no team has been able to replicate it and no team has been able to defend it. So keep that. That's incredible. You already paid him, so you don't have to worry about paying Taysom Hill in the future. Work with Jameis Winston because he can't be your Taysom Hill.
Right.
So you need to think about that. And without Drew Brees and with Michael Thomas being questionable, and I don't know how good Alvin Kamara is going to be without a Drew Brees, you really can't give up that one kind of really unique factor that the New Orleans Saints own, literally own.
Yeah.
So,
agreed.
Finally, and this was a big, I don't know how to say it, but there was no real challenge here. So did you watch The Real Housewives of Dallas? So 100% go with no. And I do have to say, I actually messed up this question because I've watched it in the past and I actually did watch a couple episodes this season. I thought it was just overarching. Do you really watch it? So yes, if I'm being honest, do I really watch it? No, I don't. But this past season, I actually did watch. So, and we'll get into it a little bit later, the drama with Dallas. And I've actually, I think 2-3 years ago, I watched it a little bit, but religiously, like our other franchises, no.
Yeah, no, I will be very honest. I've never watched a single episode of The Real Housewives of Dallas.
It's not bad.
We had the fact that we had an overwhelming amount of votes on this question and have it be 100% no. Really speaks volumes, and it factors into kind of what we're going to talk about later in the show. But I found it extremely interesting that we did not have a single vote of somebody owning yes, I watch it. So that was crazy.
I honestly thought it was one of the more popular of the franchises, but I do have to call out my friend we call her Fats. My friend's name is Allison. She actually was a big Dallas supporter like a couple of years back. And we were talking about the news breaking. And she was like, no, it's been trash lately. So it's probably how we feel about New York. Like, no one's watching. So maybe, you know, the answers are more so no nowadays because of that, you know, and that's coming from someone who was, you know, pretty much watching it on a religious basis. So
Right. Very interesting.
Definitely. All righty. Well, those are our poll questions. But as always, if you guys have questions for us throughout the show, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So send them our way. More than happy to answer questions, challenge your opinions, anything like that. So
absolutely. Well, bear with me, everybody. I'm rocking 2 phones, holding one for FaceTime and one with my outline. So if you see me looking down all crazy, that's what's going on over here. But but let's get into the big stories of the week in the world of football. We have NFL quick hot topics to start, and there's, you know, a lot of juicy things going on around the league. But it starts with on Tuesday, it was reported that safety Jamal Adams agreed to a 4-year, $70 million contract with $38 million guaranteed with the Seattle Seahawks. This is officially making him the highest paid safety in the NFL. Well deserving, honestly.
I love it. You love it with the unique positions, you know, especially on, you know, on defense within a safety position. I love, you know, seeing them getting the recognition they deserved. And him just in general, much deserved.
Yeah. You know, the Seahawks defense is not what it used to be when it was just like overwhelmingly like the best defense in the league for like a couple seasons there. They're not as strong as they used to be. Jamal Adams is definitely the strongest, brightest spot on that Seahawks defense. It's kind of funny, like how his career has ended up. You know, he was with the New York Jets and kind of begged his way out of a bad team to land on a good team. I remember when he was leaving, he was like, I need to be on a playoff team. Well, he got his wish, and you know, he might have had to go about it in an ugly manner, but he got his wish. He plays for a playoff and Super Bowl contending team, and now he's the highest paid safety in the league. So
listen, sometimes it's not even winning; it's just, you know, just better team dynamic. I mean, look at Leonard Williams leaving the Jets and coming to the Giants. Are we in any shape a winning team right now? No, but he just fits the dynamic better. It's clearly the culture's better. We want to win. I think it's easy for every team to say they want to win, but to actually show the efforts and show the, you know, off-season moves and things like that, you can just tell that Leonard Williams has a bigger skip in his step when he's on the New York Giants. Obviously Jamal Adams really sparked up going out to Seattle, and they're still a very high caliber team. So it truly does make the difference sometimes which locker room you are in.
Absolutely. Well, on Tuesday, this is a good one. Jacksonville, they announced that they are releasing, or they did release, tight end Tim Tebow.
I'm sorry, don't say you love it, people. You get attacked by his.
I don't care. I'm not on the Twitter, so I can say that I love it.
No, I'll still say I love it.
I'm happy this happened. I was a little worried that Tebow was going to like take a spot on an NFL roster for somebody who actually deserved to be there. But no, they released him. So obviously the former quarterback, he attempted to make a football comeback after, you know, playing baseball for the last 5 years. He played 15 offensive snaps in the team's first preseason game and saw just 1 target with 0 catches. Urban Meyer, his former college coach, was just very open and honest about it. They asked, you know, do you think this is the end of the road for Tebow and potentially making a football comeback? And he was like, yeah, like he's 34 years old. Like, I think this is probably it. Like,
stop trying to make fetch happen. Like, honestly, like that's my like advice to Tim.
Stop trying to make Tebow happen, people.
Just stop. And what bothers me too is that like, and like this maybe goes for like Jason Witten too. And like he sucked commentating, but you were given an outlet. So you chose to leave things and you were given an outlet. So like Tim Tebow did college football. He did other things. He sucked at baseball, but he was still doing it. But you were given things to do. It's not like you exited football and you were nothing. You had
no way of like making money or like,
So just stop. And I understand like playing the game and loving it, but listen, we all have to exit it at some point in our life. You get older, what
about the guys like Peyton Manning who said, I'm going to retire when I suck? Like there are guys out there who are like, if I'm not good anymore, like I'm hanging it up. I might love the game, but I'm not going to go out there and like
You need
suck
to
it up.
love the game in other fashions. So
Yeah.
these guys, a lot of them are given analyst jobs. So learn how to love it. So look at Tony Romo. He fucking loves being an analyst, loves it.
Michael Strahan's making more money now than he did in the NFL.
Literally loves it. A lot of these guys move on. Like look at Philip Rivers. He's going to be a high school coach and he's going to love that. He's going to eat that up. And I know that from experience. I had to leave lacrosse, obviously, because it was my time. I wasn't going to try to attempt anything crazy as a 30-year-old or almost 30-year-old woman, but I coached. That's like it's your second layer in it. You love the game. That's great. Find other outlets to love the game.
Absolutely.
Just do that. Like it's not, you got to stop try to make fetch happen, Tim Tebow, because it's not,
it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
All right. Well, more news around the league. On Saturday, Pittsburgh announced a trade with Jacksonville for linebacker Joe Scobert. Pittsburgh will send a 2022 sixth-round pick to Jacksonville for him. Scobert played just one season with Jacksonville after signing a 5-year, $53.8 million deal with them before the 2020 season. So kind of surprising there. Still another like high caliber player, a defensive player in the league. I feel like this was a good signing for Pittsburgh. I feel like Pittsburgh's quietly like been making late off-season moves. And hey, if it pans out for them and they got him on a cheap deal, then I like that pickup for them for sure. And they're giving up a 6th-rounder. Like, okay.
I do like the trades late in the off season where it does just involve one person. It's not a swap, or it's not a swap in picks. It's just, here's my picks, here's a player. So I do, as we get closer to the season, I'm more attracted to those types of trades. And you're right, Pittsburgh has been kind of making them, and to add to that defense, like, I mean, do you have to? Probably
they don't have to, and yet they're doing it, and they're getting these like bargain deals. So it's like, all right, good for them.
Why not?
Yeah. And then lastly, this past week, it's funny, I feel like we were just talking about him recently on the show, but this past week, the San Francisco 49ers signed former first-round pick, Clinton Dix. Clinton Dix was drafted by Green Bay in 2014. He played 4.5 years there before he was traded to Washington. Then he played for Chicago in 2019 and was signed by Dallas last offseason before he was surprisingly cut. He did not play in 2020, but again, like I like this late off-season push by the 49ers and this pickup. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like,
if it doesn't, it's still like
sweat off their back,
though. Because he is one of those players that we always talk about, and I'm just like, how?
Yeah, we'll never understand what has really gone down in that career.
No, but I don't think there is anything. I don't know. Like
we don't know. I don't know if it's secretly something behind closed
that,
doors.
like, no one knows. Like, I mean, honestly, like our followers, like I feel like a lot of our Twitter followers know like some juicy shit behind the scenes. Like, if you know something about like Clinton Dix, like please let us know.
Yeah, like, tweet it out. Like, what is the behind the scenes story of Clinton Dix? What is really going on there? But again, like, if this pans out for San Francisco, that's a huge win. And if it doesn't, it's absolutely no sweat off their backs. No. You know?
Yeah, but still, I definitely do want him to find I guess I just really thought Green Bay was his forever home.
And it was there for a while. Like, you know, it's rare that players spend a decent amount of time in a certain place. He spent almost 5 seasons with them.
Yeah.
I think what happened, it's not surprising that he eventually landed on a new team. What was surprising is when he left Green Bay, he kept bouncing around from team to team to team. It didn't make sense.
Yeah,
it really and truly did not make sense. So we'll see what happens, but we're rooting for him.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I'm wearing my Alabama gear tonight. Of course I'm rooting for on this one. All righty. So we are moving into our week by week, team by team, worst, best case scenario, best, worst case scenario for record predictions.
Our final division.
This is our final one. I got nervous that we missed last week, and I was like, oh no, we're going to have to because the season's coming around the corner.
No, we're good. We're good.
So we are good. And, I think we saved the best for last because this one was
I love diving into this division.
Yes, it was definitely interesting for sure. And I honestly, as confident I am as in my picks, I still think something completely opposite could happen. Like, and that's why, like, I do love this division. So we're talking about the NFC West.
Yeah.
So we have the Cardinals, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the 49ers. So
you know what's great about this
division? Very good division. Like, very good.
The best part about this division is I don't think there is, and you can say that all 7 other divisions have this. There's no weak link in this division. And you can also sit down and truly make arguments for why each team could win it.
Right.
So it's as close as a close gets. Definitely could be sending 3 out of the 4 teams to the playoffs. This is a great division. I'm very intrigued to see how you broke this one down because it's a very tight race, I think.
Yeah. I mean, listen, all of my best case scenarios are really
good scenarios.
Good scenarios. And even some of the worst case scenarios are
pretty good. Like we would take that.
Like, sign me up for that worst case scenario.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's go down to Arizona and let's start with the Cardinals first. This is a team for me. I mean, I'm always very skeptical of the Cardinals. And I think I could definitely back it up, but so it might, I don't know, maybe might shock a little some people, maybe not. But best worst case scenario, what do you got?
Best case scenario, I've got 10-7, and worst case scenario, I've got 7-10.
We are not shocking the world because I got the same exact thing.
Okay, there you go. So my note on them, obviously, I just said it before, the division race is going to be really close. So their final 3-game stretch is very important and could determine a lot. It's a difficult end to their season. They have Indy and then at Dallas, and then their final game is home against Seattle.
That's really hard.
It's very hard. And in a division that's going to be so close to the bitter end.
It counts. That game counts.
It really, really counts. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, those last 3 games count. So and honestly, probably for us, we need Dallas to lose that game. So I'll take that for sure.
We will be rooting for Arizona there.
Yeah, we'll be rooting for Arizona. So. So yes, as Katie said, I did go 10-7, best case scenario, worst case scenario, 7-10. Yep. They're just a team, I think, so it's so interesting. I think all 4 of these teams are very dynamic when they're playing other teams. When it comes within the division, though, that's when things get really scary. And I think the Cardinals and the Niners really need to, and I'm really thinking of the Niners last season. So, coming off the Super Bowl run, it's hard. The 2 of them, I feel like, really need to step it up to face the Rams and the Seahawks. Like, they have to it's a very, very challenging division. And to have, these 2 games for each team there is really hard for them. So
everybody's overall records are going to be very close. So what it's going to come down to is who had the best record within the division. That's going to be, those division games are going to be so crucial. Yeah. So.
All righty, let's move to the Rams, which I think is a very big fan favorite this season. And for me,
a lot of people like them.
Well, I may have been generous for sure. Maybe in my best, not my worst here, but they're still a team too, to me, that I'm just not fully set on yet. But so we'll get into it there. But best worst case scenario, what do you got?
Best case scenario, I'm matching with Arizona, 10-7. Worst case scenario, I'm going 1 game up from what I gave Arizona. I'm going 8-8. And then for the reason you went 8-9. Oh no! 8-9. 8-9. Yes, 17 games, not 8-8. Thank you very much. I knew I would mess it up somewhere along the way, right?
I've been reading these. I write them down. I triple check them a million times because I have caught myself over the past
on my outline. I wrote 8-8, so shame on me. So what I meant was 10-7 and 8-9.
I thought your first one was. I thought you did say the right thing.
No, I did. I'm just saying, yeah.
Right.
So for the same exact reason that I just talked about with Arizona in their final 3-game stretch, the Rams have a difficult final 5-game stretch.
And that is just,
which is,
I'd rather have a hard first 5 games.
Me too. So this end is pretty brutal in my opinion. You've got at Arizona, Seattle, at Minnesota, at Baltimore, and then San Fran.
Yeah.
Like you've got 3 division games there, and then you're going to be on the road against Minnesota and on the road against Baltimore. Like I think that's pretty difficult. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see how they fare down the stretch.
So I did one up them from the Cardinals. So I'm going to go best case scenario and give them an 11-6 record. But I am agreeing with you with the worst case scenario. So I'm giving them an 8-9.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario. Because again, well, there is a lot of hype out there. Sure. If you want to really, really hype them up, you'll give them that best case scenario of 11 wins. I still don't like Matthew Stafford, to be honest. I know you're a Stafford person. I wouldn't say fan, but I think you like him more than I do.
I'm big on, yeah, definitely. I think that Cam Akers loss was a huge loss for this team because even with the Cam Akers loss, I feel like there's people that are like really high on this team, like quietly, like I think this is a lot of people's dark horse team this year. And that's even without Cam Akers. So I think if Cam Akers was still there, like you'd get even more people on this Rams bandwagon. But as much as I like Stafford, it's a new quarterback in town, and you never know how somebody's going to play in a new offense with new teammates. So we're going to see how it breaks down for them. But
and listen, we have a lot of that this season. So it's going to be a very, very interesting 2021 season for sure across the board. So let's move to what I think is the dominant team in this division, the Seattle Seahawks. Best, worst case scenario.
Best case scenario, I have the Seahawks at 13-4, and worst case scenario, I have them at 10-7, which is hilarious because, like Caitlin said, like, oh, worst case scenario, 10-7. I would love that for the Giants.
Hand that to me, thank you.
Give that to us. But you know what's really funny about you saying like the dominant team, and of course, like I'm agreeing with you because this is the best case scenario that I have in this division, with Seattle being 13-4. There was an argument made, I forget who it was, saying that if they think any team is going to go from first to worst in their division, they said it's going to be the Seattle Seahawks. Like there are people out there that truly believe this team is going to implode this season. And I understand the arguments, but I'm not one of those people. I'm still high on this team. My note that I made was this is the last division we're doing. I've looked at every single team's schedule. This is one of the harder schedules I've seen. They have here we go. You say you'd rather have the difficult games in the beginning. They have a really difficult first 6 games. Their first 2 games are rough, at Indy and then Tennessee. And then you have
that's doable for the Seahawks. I feel.
It is, but it's tough. And now you've got it paired with these other 4 games at Minnesota, at San Fran, the Rams, and at the Steelers. Like we're going to see what this team is made of, like right off the bat. Right off the bat. Yep. But what do you have for them?
So I'm agreeing with you with best case scenario at 13-4. And my worst case scenario is 9-8. And while
we're right there.
It really isn't so, but where my worst case scenario comes into play is that argument that you just brought up, that this team might implode this season. While I'm not one of those people, and while, our fans need to understand that we do analyze every game. Clearly, we're analyze each week, but clearly when it comes down to the Giants, those are the games that we see like minute by minute, second by second analyze.
Right.
The Giants versus the Seahawks last year really unlocked all of the difficulties that the Seahawks have.
It's very eye-opening for people to see that game.
All of the areas that they need to fix. And they actually have a lot of areas that they need to fix. It was
the defense is not the defense anymore.
It was late in the season. It was very, very eye-opening. So if you're going to have a team and I'll take nothing away from the Giants defense. I think we're great as a defense.
Yeah.
I'll take nothing away from that, but all over the field, it was Giants domination. Like I literally remember, I was jumping up in front of my TV. Like I think I peed my pants when we won, to be honest. Like gotta be honest, like literally peed my pants. But it really did unlock a lot of stuff that's wrong in Seattle. So do I think they're going to implode this season? No. I clearly gave them a great best case scenario.
Right.
But 8-9 for the Seahawks, some people
it could happen.
They might kind of roll their eyes or be a little eye open to that. But guess what? It's pretty realistic if you really saw, some of the stuff that they had to work on last year.
And this is also like going off of the fact that I just said too, like I looked at this schedule, like it is a hard schedule.
Yeah.
So even if this is a good team, they're facing a challenging schedule. It's not going to surprise me, especially when I just said too that like you could make an argument for any of these teams winning the division. Well, you could make an argument for why any of them could finish in 4th place in this division.
Absolutely.
So that includes the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm. All righty, let's go
back
to California with the San Francisco 49ers. Thank goodness you have headphones on so your husband doesn't hear me, because I don't know if I was particularly nice to them.
Okay.
But what do you have best worst case scenario?
So I do have them with the second best case scenario in this division, but this is going because I thought they had by far the easiest schedule out of the 4 teams. Best case scenario, I have San Fran at 11-6. And worst case scenario, I have them at 9-8. They have the only thing that I didn't like about their schedule, because I thought it was an extremely favorable schedule, is that they have we have 17 regular season games now.
Yeah.
They have a week 6 bye, which is so ridiculously early.
Yeah,
and this is a team that really battled injury. I mean, they were the most injury prone team last year. They got hit by the injury bug the worst out of any of the teams last year. And to have that bye week come so early, I think that's the huge disadvantage in their schedule for the Niners. But other than that, I really do have them on par with the Rams and with Arizona. So the fact that they have an easier schedule got me to the best case of 11 wins.
Yeah, so I was definitely cautious with the Niners. And I'll get
they're
into
hard.
that.
They're hard to predict. Like they really are.
So best case scenario, I went with a 9-8 record, and worst case scenario, I just put them where they were last season. They ended up 6-10, so I gave them a 6-11 record. I could even probably do 7-10, to be honest. And I think it's really it is that extra game, and it's coming from a team that, like you had just said, was so injury prone last season.
Right.
You add on another game to that, it really, and like I think a lot of people are like, one game doesn't really matter. It truly does. It really does. It affects so much. Clearly affects the bye week. Their bye week's coming out week 6. It's just in 6 games in, if you were kind of having a maybe 50-50 chance, or maybe you're a little bit under 500 and you were healthy, you could move on. If you're at 6 weeks and that's your bye week and your entire team is injured, it's really not giving you much. You really need, like, it just.
Well, you want to be your healthiest at the end of the season, especially if you're going to be a playoff team to like make that playoff push. You want to rest your guys at the end. They don't need rest at week 6. They need rest way later than that. That definitely hurts. I would not be happy if the Giants landed a week 6 bye.
No. So I think last season really does. And while it does have to do with injury, it also does show this season, how can a team like that bounce back from all that injury? So I don't know with the Niners yet. So we have to see it. So that's why I'm being pretty cautious here with those.
They're the question mark of the division, because 2 seasons ago, this is a team in the Super Bowl, and they could have potentially made a run again last year, but they were horribly injured. Don't really know what's going to go on with Jimmy Garoppolo. Are we going to see Trey Lance at all this season? We don't know how it's going to shake out. I think they are the wild card, and I think they are the question mark of the division.
I agree.
All right. Those were all 8 divisions. We like to play a game and we'll probably do it in the next 1 to 3 weeks. Before the season starts, we like to break down who we're picking as our division winners, who we see, making runs in the playoffs, everything like that. So we have done our best and worst case scenario records for all 8 divisions and all 32 teams, but we'll break it down even further in the next show or two. And it's going to be interesting to, I know we have our dark horse with the Chargers. It's just, how far does one take that dark horse? So
I don't know.
We will find out, people. We will find out.
For sure.
But let's get into our big stories of the week in the world of Housewives. And this first story goes off of our poll question that we asked you. We wanted to know who out there is watching the Real Housewives of Dallas, because you ain't going to be watching them anymore. Let's see. On Tuesday, Bravo confirmed that the Real Housewives of Dallas would not be renewed for another season. They will not be back next year. And as far as the future goes as a franchise, nothing beyond that has been decided. Bravo said it is not an official cancellation and that maybe in the future the series could return a la, Real Housewives of Miami. Yeah. But who knows? Like, does it return to Bravo? Does it go to Peacock? Like,
oh God,
who the hell knows these days, right? Send that shit to Peacock.
Seriously, just send him to Peacock.
Send Tim Tebow to Peacock.
He can go to Peacock. Honestly, go to you and all of your.
We'll never have to watch you.
You and all your simp followers that were so mean to me on Twitter, go to Peacock.
Send Tebow to Peacock. I love it. The franchise wrapped its 5th season earlier this year following numerous racially insensitive incidences involving some of the show's cast members. Bravo even had to come out once or twice and like openly make statements apologizing and whatnot and so forth. Again, I've never watched an episode of The Real Houses of Dallas, so I'm not about to like speak on things that I have no idea how it all shook out and how it went down. But all we know is they're 100% not coming back in 2022. And it could be the last we ever see of this franchise, or it could come back in a second life on Peacock or maybe even on Bravo. But for right now, no more Real Housewives of Dallas, which apparently is no big deal to any fans of the real football fans of New Jersey, because y'all voted that you do not watch it.
Not to our fans, but the Bravo community in general is.
Yeah, how do they feel on Twitter? What's the Twitter world saying?
It's pretty. A lot of it's like good. A lot of them are saying like good riddance because of what happened this past season. I do got to tell you. So I watched probably like a couple episodes in. I started watching it. And then I kind of took a break and then I was watching near the end. And then it was like the last episode into the reunion. And that's when a lot of like the racial.
It got ugly at the reunion. Yeah.
Really, really ugly. And like when I say ugly, like really, really ugly. Like I don't think Bravo or Housewives have ever seen like anything like this. Like really, really ugly.
Okay.
Like a lot of past stuff was brought up and then a lot of like current, like, it was very, very weird. You gotta look into it. It was one of their newer members too, or well, the newest member, which is very,
who I know she's Asian, and I know that some of the issues like had to stem with stuff going on with that.
Right. Yeah. So it wasn't great. It wasn't pretty. It was not. It was very not. You can't do that stuff, obviously, and really like I was taken aback by everything that I'd seen on it. So and obviously, like you said, like Bravo had to come out and make a statement. And if they didn't, I would have been like, what the heck? What are you doing? Because like it's not okay. So I guess like so Bravo Universe is very much, I guess, like shocked that they pulled it, but also people are like, well, yeah, like you can't do that stuff. But where I'm kind of thinking like what's going on is like you pull the people that made it bad. You know, clearly people came into this franchise and made it a good franchise.
Right.
But I like the, so to say, like the intensity of Bravo being like, you're done. Like,
I
almost not like they can't physically do this because it's too much history. Like, I almost want them to do that to New York. Like that is how bad it is.
There are still the rumors swirling that could happen to New York. If it's anything that I feel as though we have learned maybe over the last 2 years of doing this show and being fans of the Housewives and watching Bravo, is that OG franchises and OG Housewives are no longer safe.
Yeah.
Nobody is safe. We would have thought that New York was the safest franchise for life. And they're having massive issues and they're talking about taking a hiatus. And we never thought it would come to this, but no one's safe. No franchise, no housewife.
No. So listen, I guess that's mine and Katie's message to the Real Housewives of New York. You are not safe.
Definitely not.
Obviously this season is trash. And I didn't even watch last night, to be honest, because
I did not either.
Thursday. I didn't watch Tuesday night. Sorry. I did watch one part of it, which was horrific. So I don't even know what's going on.
Oh my God.
Anymore, but it's just bad. Like real
very, very bad. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about a franchise that's real good and what
Yeah,
Katie
we're
and I
excited
are
about this one.
excited about.
Yeah.
So we did get a season 2 trailer of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Oh,
Intense.
like,
So intense.
So intense. We're ready. I'm
So
ready.
ready.
So let's talk about it. So obviously earlier this past week, they did drop season 2 trailer of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So listen, we got a lot going on here. So we have Jen Shaw versus Meredith, and that seems like it's going to be like the conflict of the season.
Yes.
Saw like a little bit of it last season, a lot of like her disengaging things. She just didn't want to do it. Like I'm not dealing with this drama. We were disengaging with Jen as well.
At the reunion, the way it was left off was like Jen was trying to apologize and even telling Meredith, like, I want to salvage our friendship. I want to be friends. And Meredith was like still disengaging.
No,
so G bless. Good for her. Love her.
Love her so much. So it's not even just Jen and Meredith going at it too.
Right.
Brooks is in the picture too. So listen, I can't wait for Brooks's storyline. Like he's great. I follow him on Instagram.
I know.
I love him so much. So
which gives Meredith even more fuel to the fire in this argument with Jen. It's like, don't go after my kid. Like, are you kidding? And once you do that, we're not coming back from that. Like,
no,
you know what I mean? Like, then you're coming for blood.
Yeah. So there's a really like big scene and like rumors around like Whitney saying that Meredith might have something to do with Jen Shaw being indicted on all of these, everything that we've been seeing lately. You dropped the phone?
Yeah.
Oh, you're back? I was like, did you drop it?
Fumble on the play. Fumble on the play.
She fumbled. So honestly, but with the thing with like, so that was like a big scene of like they're at dinner and Jen does what she does best and freaks the F out.
Yeah.
And she gets into Meredith's face. And what we see is very terrifying. She's very, very close to her saying like, are you the reason like I got arrested?
You know something, if you've done
Meredith's
something.
Like, I got to give Meredith credit because she's just there stone cold face while someone's spitting basically in her. Her hands are basically here. And she's just like, no, like what would I do to that? And then she has probably the best line of the century. She goes, bye, baby, and just shuts the door. She goes, I'm disengaging.
No, she said something crazy.
Says, bye, baby. She says, bye, baby. And she goes, I'm disengaging.
Oh, but I feel like she said something crazy, though. Like, and it was funny. Do you think Meredith is maybe like a secret stoner? She's so like
mellow,
like she feels like she's like melting into the couch. Like
I feel like her husband
she's
is
so
too.
mellow.
Yeah,
she's so mellow.
They probably are. Yeah.
She's like, don't even bother with me with this. Like, I'm living my best life.
But
I'm
I loved
disengaging.
it. I already thought like I'm so excited to see that. Like it's like your husband's in a pool, like in the pool, like great, iconic. Like she was like, bye, baby, I'm disengaging. And it's like whipped out, like yes. Like I need to see that. That episode's gonna be crazy. But so the thing with like Brooks though being entered, so apparently, Jen's attacking him on Twitter. Like the children thing, it's always a sensitive subject, but like don't go after it on social media. Like that's just dumb. Like that just makes Jen, you're a child. Like stop. Like don't like it's stupid at this point. Like everyone sees everything on social media. So why you put it out there? Because she probably wanted to be caught. She wanted to, people to see. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
So like it gets a little tricky too, because obviously we're seeing all of the legal shit with Jen.
Right.
And we're looking at this cast of women and we're like, who's going to be with her? Like who is literally going to be by her side? And Lisa in the past, who has tried to like mitigate everything and like make sure everything's okay. Like the clip is of her saying, she's not going to be. Like she will not be by her side.
Like she doesn't want to talk to her, not answering her phone call.
Is not answering her. She literally looks at her husband and she's like, I'm not answering this phone call right now. Like, I'm not going to do that. But we do see Heather. And that bothers me. So the one thing I loved about the preview, Heather is in the center. So she has the center snowflake. I love that. Love that for Heather. Great.
Yeah.
She is the center. That does bother me though, because I feel like Heather was there for her all last season.
Right.
And Jen attacked her randomly on so many so many
Heather
parts.
Heather is like a perfect example of somebody being loyal to a fault. Like, you're
Yeah.
my best friend, but if you royally F up or like you do something that's really messed up or wrong, like I can't go around defending you to everybody. Like, if what you did was straight up wrong, like, you know what I mean? Like, so Heather is loyal to a fault. Like,
Yeah.
she understands like the hot water Jen, like she gives Jen a pass to like act crazy and like say mean shit and scream at the women and get violent
But
with
she
the
says
women. And it's
mean
like,
shit to like Heather. And I'm like, why are you don't be
yeah,
mean to her?
I
Like,
don't understand it. Heather is, I don't like that friendship. I honestly don't. I hate Jen. I think I wrote that on my notes for the show, that she's like, or I texted it to you when you sent me the trailer and I was like, here are my thoughts. And I was
yeah.
like, Jen is easily becoming like maybe my most hated housewife. Like, I cannot stand her.
You hate
And
her more than Ziggy or Siggy, whatever.
yeah, but I'm talking more so about like who's currently like still on their franchise.
No, you had to go like all time. Like your hated
All
list of all
time.
time.
That's hard because the reason I hate Jen Shah is completely different from my reason for hating Siggy Flicker. So I don't know.
Yeah, but
I'd
you like
have to.
hate Siggy Flicker, like hate
I
her.
would really have to examine that and really sit down
That'd
and
be a
think
good.
about
We'll
this.
do that one day, and it won't
Yeah,
be.
yeah,
I think you hate more people than I do.
yeah,
Housewives, wives. So
yeah.
we'll have to do that one day. We'll have
Okay,
to
okay,
peel back the layers of who
yeah,
you hate.
okay. All right, sounds fun.
So there is a new housewife. Her name is Jenny.
Yeah,
And we see a little bit, with her and her husband and things like that.
I think she's Asian.
She is.
Yeah.
And I think is she a friend or is she a full timer? I didn't understand that from the episode, but I've seen her like holding a snowflake. So that
I
means
think
she's
she's
full.
gonna be a full-time cast member. Like,
So
they in the trailer there was like a scene where it was just like her and her husband like having a conversation. I don't know. Maybe I feel like if she was just a friend, like she wouldn't get a scene like that. You know what I mean?
yeah. So my thoughts to this, and I did say this to Katie when it first came out,
Yeah.
they don't need someone new. They did not. Maybe they were nervous, like when
Hmm.
Jen was having her legal issues, like shit, we need to
That's true.
backfill her. Maybe she was
Also,
a last minute.
I also thought about the fact that like maybe Bravo wasn't happy with the fact that like Mary didn't hang out with the girls a lot and like
That's
Mary
fair.
barely had any scenes. So maybe they were like, we like the storylines that
Yeah.
Mary brings, but she doesn't bring enough and she doesn't hang out with the women enough
Yeah.
to like, and it almost is like Mary should be a friend of the show. She shouldn't be a
Yeah.
full timer.
I just didn't. Even a friend, a full timer, whatever. I don't think
Yeah.
they needed anyone new.
I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah. So whatever to that. Speaking of Mary, so there are rumors going around that I shouldn't be laughing at this, but it's just insane to hear
Yeah.
in 2021, to be honest, that she's a cult leader, that her church is actually a cult. And Lisa finds someone that was maybe in the church formally or just has insider secrets or whatever,
Yeah.
and confirms that she is, and she calls herself God, and those people literally do follow her. And I gotta tell you, I don't know. Like,
if this is true, expose her and expose that shit. Like
that is
honestly, like
insane.
put her on blast.
Yeah.
Like you're a freaking sicko. Like honestly. So that's going to be a very interesting storyline, which is why I feel like, okay, the fact that Mary like married her like stepfather,
Yeah.
like Bravo was like, this lady like has some crazy storylines. We have to put her in the show.
Yeah. They were like,
We have to include her. Even if she's only in
crazy.
like 2 scenes, we need those 2 scenes.
I know. I mean, that's like crazy though. And like,
Yep.
honestly, that's like some like effed up shit. So if it is true, like, also like Bravo is kind of like tiptoeing on a thin line there. Like if you are aware of like a cult happening, like you need to figure that out. Like you can't just be broadcasting that to national television and not do anything about it. So
crazy shit. It's going to be, and the trailer looks amazing. Yeah. People, if you haven't watched it, go watch it right now because I am seriously pumped for this franchise. I'm very high on it. I was super sad that their rookie season was cut short. I think due to COVID, and I'm looking forward to like a full season from these ladies. I think it's going to be great. It looks great. I'm so ready for it.
Me too.
All right. Well, I think it's that time to get into our game. And this is honestly this is our big fantasy football episode game wise. We did this, our last couple seasons, heading into the regular season. We are playing a game called, just simply put, our fantasy football player rankings. We are going to look at each position. We've got quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end, defense / special teams, and kicker. And for each position, we are going to give you our top 3 players at those positions, plus 1 sleeper pick and 1 player to avoid. I spent a lot of time doing my research and my due diligence because some of these are tough.
Yeah.
But I'm very interested. This is going to be my first year playing fantasy football. So honestly, I have my own notes here, my own opinions, but I'm going to be taking notes on your notes. Maybe you'll help me out. Who knows? So let's kick it off. Let's start with the most important position on the football field. That is the quarterback position. Caitlin, give me your top 3, your sleeper, and your player to avoid at quarterback.
Alrighty, so in no particular order, my top, so they are not in any order. My top 3 quarterbacks for the 2021 season are Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Josh Allen. I think all 3 of these players are positioned to take your fantasy team to the next level. Yeah. I think they have the weapons around them with the passing and the running game. And they also do have the weapons within inside of themselves to take the team to the next level and get those points that you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
My sleeper pick, and Katie, you will probably appreciate this because I do think, and maybe I've slept on him in the past, but he's not a bad fantasy quarterback to have. I'm going to go with Ryan Tannehill. If you can grab him early, I 100% would recommend grabbing him early. Do not let him fall because I actually do not think he will fall this season. So be on the lookout there. Okay. And my player to avoid in the quarterback position, you guys might be high on him because he travels from team to team and is popular on social media and might have a breakout game or 2, but do not go with Ryan Fitzpatrick. He will not do things for your team, and you just have to be really weary about kind of that hype around the media with him just constantly being there and things like that.
Okay. Fair enough. My top 3, I actually did mine in order. I have 2 out of the 3 that you named. I do have 1 as Patrick Mahomes, 2, I have Josh Allen, and 3, I have Kyler Murray. Yeah, obviously,
that one's hard for me to.
The third spot is hard. I think you could throw a couple different names.
Kyler Murray's hard for me because I still think I'm not.
Listen, that really has to do with the running factor of Kyler Murray. You can't ignore the fact that he is going to pick up a lot of points for you by running the ball, getting rushing touchdowns as well as passing touchdowns. And he has so many offensive weapons. It should be one of the better offenses in the league this year. So I had to give him a spot on my top 3 list. A sleeper. I'm going with Cleveland's Baker Mayfield.
Surprisingly, he's low on people's
so
list.
ESPN, I referred to ESPN when I was doing these as far as their player rankings, just to kind of go with maybe it's a sleeper, maybe avoid, they have him high or they have him low, and I don't agree. They have Baker Mayfield ranked as the 21st best fantasy quarterback. And I feel as though he is an excellent what's up, fam? My first pod joined with y'all. Thank you, Brian. Welcome. Thanks for joining. We're
talking about fantasy football, so take notes.
Yes, take notes. Baker Mayfield. So 21st ranked fantasy football quarterback by ESPN. I do feel as though he is an excellent backup quarterback to have. I do believe that people should take backup quarterbacks for fantasy.
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely.
But even if you got him as your QB1, as your starter, I think he's a good player to take. Maybe you were the last one to join the party and you took a quarterback later than everybody else. Yeah. I still feel like he is a good player to take. If that's the position you're in, you can still count on him to be a decent QB1 for you in fantasy football. Player I am avoiding. This is the 10th ranked fantasy player for ESPN. I'm sorry, Caitlin, but I am avoiding Jalen Hurts.
I think honestly, I think a lot of people actually have them as their sleeper pick. I do question it. I wasn't going to pick that, obviously. I do question it going into the season because I still think Philly might be questioning it.
They definitely are.
So
I mean, I get that
I don't disagree with you at all.
He's clearly ranked 10th overall because of his running abilities. Okay.
Absolutely.
Like that's definitely why he's there. So I understand that he is capable of running, but we simply have not seen enough of Jalen Hurts to even know like what kind of quarterback is he? We have no idea. Which actually is probably the reason why some people have him as a sleeper. Like you're going to roll the dice and say that Jalen Hurts is going to be a good NFL quarterback. I'm doing it as I'm avoiding him because I don't know. Like we have no idea what he's going to look like and how he's going to be. So for now, maybe you take him in fantasy football next year after you've seen him play for a full season. Well, now I'm avoiding him.
Yeah. Well, now, but for fantasy, so if you do avoid him in the draft, I would still keep your eyes open because there's a lot of disgruntled fantasy football players that get rid of people after week 1 or week 2 because they're idiots, to be honest. But they're like, oh, didn't play well, whatever. So, but keep an eye out. He might be someone, if he gets tossed by some random person, I would try to.
Right. Once you've seen what he's got and if he's really excelling, then I agree with that 100%. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. Who do you have?
Alrighty, so my top 3, again, in no particular order for me, I have DeAndre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill, and Devontae Adams.
Okay.
My sleeper is, and it's funny because he was our sleeper actually a couple seasons ago, coming into the league. My sleeper is Jacoby Myers, actually. So I think New England is actually kind of set up for success this season. They made a lot of offseason changes. They spent a lot of money, which we don't always see in New England. And I think they're going to go Mac Jones. And I think Mac Jones and Jacoby Myers really will go hand in hand together. Okay. And I think while they do have Nelson Aguilar, I do think that Jacoby Myers, while they will be hand in hand, I do think like he is a standout player. And I think that, I think when we said this like early on in his career, like if he's available, like you guys got to look and make sure I would grab him up for sure. So
I would say I don't disagree with this pick, but I would say take him at the very, very, very end because it also wouldn't surprise me if there were fantasy football drafts where he went undrafted. So I would take him maybe with like your last pick, or if nobody picks him up. And he's just saying, like, keep an eye on him during the season. Again, like one of those things, like see how it goes. But very interesting. I like it. Who are you avoiding? Well, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. Wait, hold on one second. I want to make sure. But I was because we spoke about this when I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. When we were talking about fantasy a couple of weeks ago. That new strategy of kind of like waiting on your wide receivers, maybe. So if that is the case, like load up real quick on your running backs and your tight ends.
Right.
We're going to have a decent amount of people, but you're going to have people still that play that regular fantasy game that do load up real quickly on, some people do wait on tight ends, which is shocking, but
there's not a lot of good ones. So be careful with that strategy, people.
My player to avoid, and I'm laughing because I said it earlier in the show, my player to avoid is Antonio Brown. And it's the stop trying to make fetch happen. It's a popular player. The amount of people when Dez Bryant came back, when Antonio Brown came back, the amount of people that picked them
jumping
right
on
away.
That,
it's silly. And there's a pool of people. Like I'm giving you guys Jacoby Myers as my sleeper pick. Like you do not have to pick Antonio Brown. Like
did you see that he just punched that dude in the face at practice?
I did. And I want to let everyone know I made a really funny meme for our account and it'll go live after the show. It's really funny.
It. Okay.
But I have to also say too, that photographer deserves photographer of the year.
He got the punch.
They all
frame by frame.
So I don't know who it is. he, she, they, whatever, you get a photographer of the year. Like, you deserve a raise. You got the sequence, you got the punch. Beautiful. There's a meme coming after the show, I promise.
Okay.
It's really funny. But yeah, so stop trying to make Antonio Brown happen. It's not going to happen.
Fair enough. All right, wide receiver in order. I have Green Bay's Devontae Adams at 1. 2, I have Kansas City's Tyreek Hill. And 3, I have Buffalo's Steph Diggs.
Yeah, it was hard not to put him in there.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I'm leaving out DeAndre Hopkins.
It's hard. Yeah.
And you add, like, there's phenomenal wide receivers. There really are.
Absolutely.
Sleeper. This is my asterisk sleeper pick of this whole bunch. I'm actually going to go with the entire wide receiving core of the New York Jets. Okay. I'm going to go with Corey Davis, Jamison Crowder, and rookie Elijah Moore. Right. I understand that the Jets are the Jets a lot, rightfully so. People don't believe in that offense. Now you're going to have a rookie quarterback. Who knows how he's going to be. But I'm talking sleeper. So I'm talking about getting these guys late. Jamison Crowder, I always have had felt this about him when he was with Washington as well. He was a very underrated player.
I was people kind of the 3 of them, I would go after him.
Yeah, people definitely overlook him. Corey Davis is going to be a nice late pickup for somebody. And then honestly, my deep sleeper is the rookie in Elijah Moore. I don't know. I feel like people are sleeping on some of these Jets wide receivers, and I think they would be really good mid to late round picks. As far as my player to avoid, he gets a lot of catches. That helps in a PPR league. He racks up a lot of yards, but this man does not score enough touchdowns. I'm going with Carolina Panthers, Robbie Anderson. As much as I like him and as much as I want to take him, and he's rated really high, he had 3 touchdowns all of last season. The most he ever had in his career was he had 7 touchdowns one season. Other than that, he's in that 2 to 4 touchdown range, which simply is not enough. So this is the player I'm avoiding. Let's look at running backs.
All righty, great crew here. For me, again, in no particular order, I do have Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, and Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
My sleeper pick here comes out of Los Angeles with Darrell Henderson, with Cam Akers being out. Listen, so the Rams put numbers on the board. They put yards, they put touchdowns on the board, regardless who they're going to. Obviously, a new quarterback, you have the injury of Cam Akers, so it's a lot of question marks. But if this kid can actually fill in and actually be that person, that's where the numbers are going to. They're clearly going in other areas as well. But if he can truly fill in and be that RB1, then to me, that is, people might not be thinking about that right now because
he's not a household. He's not a household name right now. So it's because
people are still so shit. Cam Akers, what are we gonna do without Cam Akers? Right. Well, here's your guy. So think about that. And my player to avoid is J.D. McKissick coming out of Washington, because to me, it's Antonio Gibson's world and we're all living in it. And you are not, nothing's going to go there. So while his numbers may be okay and maybe things are going to happen there, I just don't really see Washington. It's Antonio Gibson's world.
I almost wanted to call Antonio Gibson a sleeper, but realistically, he's ranked as number 10. But I still feel
I've seen him higher on the list.
I'm telling you, I almost want to call him a sleeper because I think in a year from now, we could potentially be looking at him as maybe a top 5 fantasy running back.
I think I saw him as 6 or 7 on someone's list.
So this is a guy that at 10 when that's how ESPN ranked him. I was like, do we call him a sleeper? Because I think he's better than 10. But we'll see. Running backs in order. I have Carolina's Christian McCaffrey, Minnesota's Dalvin Cook, and New Orleans' Alvin Kamara. Again, this is leaving Derrick Henry off my list. Would be a phenomenal person to have.
I just couldn't put Alvin Kamara in the mix.
Here's my only reason for putting somebody like Alvin Kamara over Derrick Henry is because Derrick Henry, he racks up a shit ton of yards, but they're all rushing yards.
Yeah.
He's not really active in the passing game the way Alvin Kamara is. That is the only reason I'm giving Kamara the edge. But if you have Derrick Henry, if he's on the board, like you're like, yes, this is clutch. I'm good. My sleeper. I don't know why I'm getting a lot of love to the New York Jets, but here I am, and I'm going with a rookie. I loved when they drafted rookie Michael Carter out of UNC in the 4th round.
He's very high on some people's lists.
I thought the Jets had a phenomenal draft. Like, they had one of the best drafts. I truly believe that. You've got a rookie
execute on it too. Yeah.
You've got a rookie quarterback, so like maybe you want to try and get him as comfortable as possible, and you're going to rely on the run game a lot. And I just really like this pick. And what I keep reading about Michael Carter is that he's a really great pass catching running back.
Yeah.
So like Alvin Kamara, if you can get a running back who can do both, that's what you're looking for in fantasy football. And Michael Carter could be the next up and coming guy that does that for you.
Yeah.
Player I am avoiding. I don't care if he's best available on the board. I'm so sorry to say it. I will always advise to avoid Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I mean, well, no one's going to listen to you, to be honest. So
I know,
that.
exactly.
Like,
I know, like, and I know he's ranked a top 5 player overall in fantasy, top 5 running back.
Coming off an injury,
it almost doesn't even like necessarily for me. Yes, it does have to do with the injury, but like even last year, I was saying like I would not take Saquon Barkley. I'm a totally like, I'll believe it when I see it type person. I need to see Saquon successfully run behind our offensive line.
Yeah, that's fair.
It has to do with the offensive line mainly, not Saquon Barkley. But he unfortunately is the player I'm avoiding.
Well, you heard it here first, people. From a
I keep it real, people. I keep it real. No one could argue that.
Avoid Saquon Barkley. I see him like number 2 or 3 on people's list. Katie's saying don't pick him. So
I know you're saying it like I'm fucking stupid, but
no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm just saying.
Like I know where he's ranked, and I know everybody's gonna take him. But listen,
well, that's why fantasy's so interesting, because you actually he's literally the player that the Giants are known for in fantasy. So we do actually know the behind the scenes of things. So it's not like as someone who's a Giants fan and watches the game from start to finish every single week. I'm trying to give good advice, people. Whether you want it or not is up to you. All right, let's go over our tight ends. Like we said, there's not a ton of like phenomenal tight ends in the league. So top 3 may be obvious for some people, but who do you got? So, again, in no particular order, I'm going with Travis Kelce, George Kittle, throwing a rookie into the mix. I'm going with Kyle Pitts at that number, but he's not number 3 spot, but throwing him into the top 3. I do have really high expectations for him this season for sure. And I got to tell you guys, if he's on the board when you're drafting, you got to take him. Like, I don't care if we haven't seen it, take him. Just take him. Figure it out a couple games in. If it's not working, take him.
I think he's probably going to be like the highest rated rookie. I would believe. I mean, he's definitely going to probably be my pick for offensive rookie of the year. Like, I know we haven't seen him, but the expectations are very high on him.
Absolutely. So my sleeper comes out of Minnesota. I'm going with Irv Smith Jr. So I think with Minnesota, they were very comfortable with giving Kyle Rudolph away. Obviously, the Giants now have Kyle Rudolph. I don't really know how that dynamic's going to work with Evan Ingram. And I think we have like, 1 or 2 other I don't know what's going on there. So whatever. That's another story. They were very comfortable with giving him away, though. They obviously have guys like Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook. They've got a lot of great offensive weapons there. But they are a team similar to the Rams. The weapons are there. The weapons are going to get it. They're going to get they're going to get the opportunities, things like that. So if he's there and he's their guy at tight end, potentially, I would look at him. So
I like him. I like him.
I've seen him pretty high up on a lot of sleeper picks and things like that. So again, I think the telltale sign though, is that they were so easy to give away their tight end 1. So, if a team is very comfortable with that in a league where tight ends are very rare to be good, so to say. I think that's a good sign for him.
Definitely.
And then I always say this when he came back into the league, Gronk is not worth it. And then this year, I'm actually giving you a 2 for here. This year, I'd be very weary of Zach Ertz. So previously in the past, a number could have been a number 3 pick for some people. We actually still don't know up until day 1 if he will be on another team or not. So he's clearly on the Eagles now. He's practicing right now, but we don't know what's going to happen, up until week 1. So I would just be very, very weary.
And they have Dallas Goedert, who was honestly ranked pretty high on tight end fantasy rankings. I think he's going to be a good fantasy player this year. So who knows where and if Zach Ertz is going to fit into the mix for Philadelphia this year, if it's even with Philadelphia. So 100% agree with you on that one. My top 3 tight ends, Kansas City's Travis Kelce, San Fran's George Kittle, and Vegas's Darren Waller. Love Darren Waller.
So good. Oh my God. I had him last year and I was like,
he's phenomenal. He's so good. Sleeper. I'm kind of rolling the dice on this one. This is like another guy who I haven't seen much. So I'm kind of like, maybe it pans out. I'm going with New Orleans' Adam Troutman.
Okay.
He was drafted in the 3rd round in 2020, and ESPN currently has him ranked as the 20th best fantasy tight end. But Jared Cook and Josh Hill are both gone now. And so this is somebody who is going to have a much bigger role on this New Orleans team. He is going to be tight end 1. And, Michael Thomas is probably, he's going to be out. He's going to miss time. Like, who's catching the ball for them? I'm going with Troutman, and I'm going to roll the dice on him.
Yeah.
Player I am avoiding, although it's so funny because fantasy is so different from the reality of things.
Yeah.
I really liked the fact that New England picked up Hunter Henry in free agency, but I'm avoiding Hunter Henry
I honestly keep forgetting
fantasy.
that. Yeah, I keep forgetting that because I really liked him outside of New England, and now I don't like him.
I'm avoiding him in fantasy. He, of course, is injury prone, so that's always a little scary. Yeah. But let's not forget, and this isn't to say that offenses can't run with 2 tight ends on the field at the same time. New England is actually known for doing that. But New England also has Jonnu Smith, and Jonnu Smith is ranked higher than Hunter Henry fantasy football wise. And so if they do decide on certain plays to only have 1 tight end on the field, it could be Jonnu Smith, which of course takes away receptions, takes away yards, takes away touchdowns from Hunter Henry. So I am going to avoid him. All right. Let's go into the kickers.
No, we're in defense.
Oh, defense?
Yeah.
Okay. Defense.
Well, they're both going to be, did I do it wrong?
I don't know what order I wrote it to you. I just had kicker next on my thing, but it doesn't matter. We could do defense.
Okay. I don't know why I had it in that order, but both of them are short and sweet and to the point for me because whatever. Defense, my top 3 are the Steelers, the Buccaneers, and the Rams. My sleeper actually is the New York Giants. They really built it up last season. They keep on building defensive wise. Yeah. So listen, if you're stuck near the end and you're trying to find a defense, if they're there, I'd take them. And don't pick the Lions because they just suck. So very short and sweet to the point.
Okay. Defense, I have Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore. My sleeper is the Arizona Cardinals. ESPN has them ranked 19. I think they have a lot of playmakers. They added JJ Watt. This is a team that I was like, why are they ranked 19? They got some guys, you know what I mean? So the defense I am avoiding is who ESPN has ranked as 12. A lot of us play in 12-team fantasy football leagues. So if this is easily a team that could be taken, but I'm avoiding them, I'm going to avoid the Denver Broncos.
Okay.
I definitely factor in takeaways, as you should, who's getting interceptions, how many fumble recoveries does the team have. They had the 4th lowest takeaway total last season, only 16 takeaways the entire year. How they are ranking 12 for fantasy football with that stat is very interesting to me. This is the defense I'm going to avoid.
All right.
Now we can go into the kickers.
Now we're going to kickers. So my top 3 are Justin Tucker, Harrison Butker, and Will Lutz. My sleeper is Graham Gano. And listen, I don't have someone to avoid for you because guess what? It's the kicker freaking position. So I don't know. Unless you're going after, I think, what's his name? Gronkowski. He's a free agent. Don't pick him, clearly. Like, he's a free agent. Like,
I want to say, and people will have to fact check me, and you'll have to fact check yourself. Why do I feel like I just read that Will Lutz got hurt and he's going to be missing time? So if that's true,
then
definitely fact check that before you draft him in one of your leagues.
I'm not going to. Don't worry.
Well, for kickers, I have one. Justin Tucker. Love Justin Tucker.
Oh shit! It was a week ago. How did I miss that?
Yeah, and I think he's going to miss like substantial time.
Okay, well, don't take him.
People avoid Will Lutz. He is now in the avoid category.
Don't take Will Lutz.
Yeah.
How did I miss this?
I missed it too. And then I thought I had, like, when I was doing this and reading about kickers, I think that's where I caught it, that he was missing time.
I swear to God, I did the kickers like without even looking, to be honest, because that's the position when you know. Well, clearly you don't know.
I looked, so
you don't know.
Justin Tucker, you left off Mr. Youngwei Koo. Come on.
I do like.
You can't leave him out. Did you leave him out because you were nervous about pronouncing his name?
No, but I did have flashbacks of mispronouncing his name for sure. But I did not leave him off. I think it's honestly
amazing.
Like,
he's amazing.
He is really good, but he is also too to me, he's like an up and coming player. Like Will Lutz has been around. Like it's just like I just know him. So
Youngwei Koo is a G. Yeah. He is awesome.
So I'm going to replace my Will Lutz there.
I'm going 3. I'm going Harrison Butker, Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Sleeper. I'm going with Green Bay's Mason Crosby. ESPN has him ranked 21st. The reason that I think they have him ranked 21st is because Green Bay was one of the most successful red zone offenses last year, meaning that Aaron Rodgers is scoring touchdowns and Mason Crosby is not getting as many attempts as other kickers are. But at the same time, Mason Crosby was perfect on his attempts last year, on his field goal attempts. He didn't miss any. So he might not get as many opportunities, but he might be making just as many as other people because he's making them all. So I'm going with Mason Crosby. My player to avoid, Houston's, this is the one name that I can't pronounce. Let's just mark it all down now.
Don't ask me.
Kaimi Fairbairn from Houston. Avoiding him because he's on Houston. So there you have it. ESPN has him ranked 19. So it's like people could still consider him. And for me, it's like, nah, I'm good on that one. No, thank you.
No, thanks.
So those are our rankings. I cannot wait to play fantasy football this year. I'm super excited. And honestly, like, drop us some DMs, drop us some tweets, drop us some lines. I want to know who everybody else's like sleepers are, players to avoid. I was reading a lot of articles today trying to like get ideas, and I would love to hear, what everybody else thinks as well. So it's that
time too. So if like you like watch like ESPN in the morning and everything, like
they've been going over it a lot.
They're at that time where like they'll do like the scrolls on the bottom of like who you should pick. They'll bring it up on Sports Center. They'll bring it up on Get Up. They'll even like Good Morning Football and NFL Network. It's clearly a big topic of discussion right now. And it's surprisingly enough, it's like everyone's got wild, differently opinions. So it definitely is good to see all of that.
Absolutely.
All righty. Well, it is that time of the episode to get it off your chest. Positive, negative, football, housewives, wine, life, anything. I don't know. Katie already bitched about the internet in the beginning, so I don't know how much emotion you have left in you, but.
Well, I want to get it off my chest that I'm very thankful for my husband, because apparently he gave me a thumbs up in the background like 20 minutes into the show that he fixed it. He fixed the internet issue.
It's fixed.
So that's part 2 of the continuation of my get it off my chest. But no, Caitlin touched on this in the beginning of the show a little bit, but I did want to just talk about FanFest. Caitlin, I don't know if this was your get it off my chest or not, but we went to FanFest last week, and it was just really awesome, like seeing some of the other podcast creators that, you know, we talk to, we chat with, we interact with on social media. We've had some of them on our show before.
Yeah.
We've had a decent amount of them actually on our show before, and we got to hang out with them at MetLife Stadium. My hope is that we'll get to hang out more during the regular season, hopefully catch a few of these people again at the regular season games, because it's a great crew, great group of people, all, you know, delivering the awesome Giants. You know, obviously we cover the entire NFL. A lot of these guys are like strictly Giants, but it's awesome to be with podcast creators, content creators who are specifically Giants fans and who are all awesome people. Had a blast hanging out with everybody. And I guess my only like complaint is FanFest was awesome. I couldn't believe how packed out MetLife was. I was very impressed by that. I did not expect that many people. It was packed out. I think people were just dying to get back to MetLife.
Yeah,
and I guess my only thing was like, it was really and truly like just a straight up practice. So
yeah,
there wasn't like a legitimate scrimmage, which I guess I was really hoping to see. And I feel like if they do, and they should do FanFest next year, I think the Jets do a green versus white, like legitimate scrimmage at training camp. And when they allow
people
to come,
do that too. Yeah, but we weren't.
I just wish like that is what we were going to see.
Right.
I think the energy in the stadium was so high. Like the fans were so pumped and amped to be there. Like I can only imagine like if we actually got to watch a scrimmage, like I feel like people would be so into it. That's my only little complaint about it. Hopefully we get to do it in the future again, and maybe they add that in there. But it was a great event. Like it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it truly was. And like, you know, I think Katie and I are so humbled by the fact that like we know so many other people in the space, you know, so many other content creators in the space, and a lot of big names out there. And for Katie and I to walk in a parking lot, for those people to know us by name, and it really means so much to us. You know, we've been at it for over 3 years now. Like clearly we're making a difference, like we're making an impact, and we're really getting our name out there. You know, this is all for fun, you know, like we do a lot of time and efforts put behind this. So it's truly great. And we love to see that. Going off what you said though, of it just being a practice, my get it off my chest is that literally we are it's the preseason right now. Like people need to get their panties out of a bunch. They need to stop being so crazy. It is literally preseason. I don't know why people get so stressed and so critical over anything like that. I don't even get this stressed like some people do in the regular season sometimes. I just want to give a friendly. So thanks. I 100% agree. We agree with you too. Yeah. Thank you so much. People need to relax, pump the brakes. So where my story, and I probably shouldn't have done this, but whatever. So I commented on, so first of all, a Giants fan, quote unquote fan, did sell out and send a video to Sports Illustrated of a video of Daniel Jones throwing it straight to, a defender on the other team.
Right.
If you break down the video, again, it's just practice. Everything is laid back. The blocker misses his block. So that is why that person was wide open. The pass gets made because Daniel Jones is not, whatever. It doesn't matter, honestly. If you want to break it down.
I saw the argument. Somebody's like, how do we know that the receiver didn't run the wrong route? Like, you know what I mean? Like
that is blatant. That I think that did happen, and the blocker to the defender clearly missed completely. So if you want to call out Daniel Jones for tossing it for no reason, sure, but guess what, they're just so
one play in a pointless practice, like it does not matter.
Out. Okay, and I understand too, like yes, he was sacked on that play. In a real life scenario, he was fucking sacked on that play. We do understand, but this is practice that I'm talking about right now, and it was a sellout. Like this individual sold out and gave the video to Sports Illustrated.
You sold your soul to the devil.
His Twitter account says he's a diehard Giants fan. You are not if you sold out this video to Sports Illustrated. So I went ahead and I was like, you know what? And Sports Illustrated is very sketchy on Instagram. They're normal on like Facebook and Twitter. Like they're normal, like a normal Sports Illustrated account. If you guys take a look at them on Instagram, they're very sketchy. Like I don't know how else to describe it, but they're very sketchy. So they post this video and they're like, haha, Giants in like mid-season form. And I'm like, okay. So like I went on there and like defended what I was going to defend. I probably shouldn't have done that. whew, I gotta tell you guys, I'm still getting to this day, like my ass kicked. So, but the good thing is the comment section is lower than the like section. I got more likes than I did harassing comments. So
nice.
that means I'm in the right, and
you
hate
win.
Everyone.
You
I hate
win.
Everyone. And someone defended me, and the comment is now gone. So that means Sports Illustrated deleted the comment.
Sketchballs.
Very sketchy. So, but what I'm just saying, so overarching, just it was literally a practice. Like we all played sports. How many practices did you play like shit? How many games did you play like shit? All the time. Like relax, like let's pump the brakes, let's pull it back. We still got almost a month. It's not. It's a little less than a month till we got time. Like listen,
just chill, people. Like it's summer. Let's have like good chill summertime vibes.
Seriously,
let's disengage. Let's be Meredith. Let's calm and collected. Disengage from Sports Illustrated.
I'm disengaging from Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
I'm disengaging from the negative. And it's not even just the New York Giants. Like, guys, log on to Twitter and everywhere else. Like, football preseason is very negative in general.
Totally disengaging.
Totally disengaging, but we will still continue to come to you guys week after week in the preseason. So we'll still give you all the drama.
I guess we'll engage to an extent.
We'll engage to an extent, but
I love it.
We won't get into drama anymore.
I want Meredith to like teach a class like disengaging 101. Like that's what I need. That's what I need.
I need to learn from the best of the best.
how to properly disengage.
We need to learn.
All right. Well, awesome show. Love talking about fantasy football. Loved breaking down Salt Lake City trailer. Like, cannot wait for that. So many good things on the horizon. So many good things this week. Like, honestly, like football is really, we're itching closer and closer. But as far as Housewives go, Real Houses of Potomac on Sunday at 8. Roni is on Tuesday at 9, and Beverly Hills on Wednesday at 8.
Oh, Beverly Hills last night was intense.
Oh boy. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City season 2. We do have the premiere date. It is going to be on Sunday, September 12th. That at 9 p.m. That's
my mom's birthday.
That is the first day of the football season, like the first.
So I will not be watching it.
Yeah. So that's okay. We'll have to watch on demand. Football, HBO Hard Knocks. That is on Tuesdays at 10 o'clock. Again, I watched the first episode. Thought it was a little bit boring, but we'll see. I'm definitely going to continue to watch it. The NFL Top 100 players, they're rocking and rolling. They're going to be giving players 11 through 40 on Sunday at 4 p.m. on NFL Network. And then NFL preseason week 2, it's Thursday. There was a game tonight, and games are going through tonight until Monday. So definitely check that out. I know it's preseason. Like, I know it could be silly, but it's just
still like to watch a little bit.
It just feels good to watch football on television. So, and you know what? It's been a lot of fun to like see the clips of the rookie quarterbacks getting their first like game action, because that is really fun to break down.
Looked phenomenal in his first game.
There's some guy, Justin Fields looked great. So like it's been really interesting to see those guys. So, tune in or catch the highlights on ESPN. Whatever, disengage or engage. It's up to you.
It's totally up to you. But yes, thank you guys so much for joining us. We will catch you next time on the Real Football Fans of New Jersey.
Bye.
Great show. Thank you guys too.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.